I don't need to do that.
Paulie,
He should do it himself. He should have the courage to do it himself. He's a pretty courageous guy. You know, when it comes to not fighting. When it comes to fighting, he's probably not the bravest guy.
So was there ever a legitimate offer between you and him to like?
No, there was never a legitimate offer. At all.
Paulie,
And I don't think there ever will be. And you know, personally, I don't care. Like I said, if you want to talk about me, then just put out the video. It's fine. You know, I didn't say it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the one bringing this up, but I gotta field your questions every time, right? You guys, you know, he's gonna wait another few months and he'll probably do it again. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna implore him to come out of the closet so we don't have to go through this every time. You know, I understand what the issue is now, you know, and unfortunately for Conor, I don't go that way. I'm sorry that he has those feelings for me, and I don't wanna be that guy, you know, where I have to break his heart, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I have to, unfortunately, you know, like I don't go that way and I can't force myself to do that, you know, but God bless. You know, I wish him the best in his this courageous move to come out of the closet. I'll be the first one to clap my hands for him if he does it. I will.
Paulie, on a more serious
Paulie, have
note,
you tried his whiskey, bro? That's what I want to know.
Tastes like piss. Somebody let me try it. Tastes like piss. I don't know. I don't even know how we talk about the whiskey brand. I mean, there's real whiskey like Jameson and everything else. Maybe that's why he's a little bit depressed. I don't know. You know, could it be that too? He actually thought he was made of real whiskey. I don't know.
on a more serious note, Paulie, you carve your own niche and you did it your way. We've seen now a lot of fighters, whether it's MMA, boxing, you're being told, oh, you gotta be like Conor, you gotta be like Broner, you gotta be, you know, talk trash, you gotta do this and that. You're a fighter, you made your name, you became a household name. If a young fighter comes to you and says, how do I become more remarkable? What should I do? What do you tell them?
I mean, I was a talker. I don't think you can have no personality. I think, you know, boxing is still a niche sport in the country. You need a personality. And you need to market. I think you start out with marketing to your, you know, boxing has always been a sport that people love to root for their own kind. So I think you start within your own kind. If you're a black fighter, you market yourself to the black community. If you're an Italian fighter, you market yourself to the Italian community. If you're Hispanic, you market yourself to the Hispanic community. If you're Asian, you market yourself to the Asian community. You start with your own community, make yourself big within the community, and then you push yourself and expand from there, you know? I think you start with that first, you know? Because you want to how that started from that grassroots level, and I think that's where the key is as far as the experience that I've seen in boxing. That's where it is. And even these foreign fighters, they come with a big push from their country first, and they come here as with some star power. But that star power originates with a big push from the grassroots from their own country first. So I think I don't think it's a racial issue. I don't think it's a prejudice issue. If you start with your own kind first, you market yourself to your own kind first the most, and then you kind of try to expand off that. If you have success in the ring, the bottom line is you have to win fights, you know, because no matter what you do, this is still boxing, and the success inside the ring can make those other avenues possible, but only if you keep winning. People love winners.
Paulie, how active are you? Jump rope, sparring, anything?
Just some road work, you know. I gotta fit into my suits. I try
Okay.
Hey, Paulie, you know, the layoffs in boxing, how detrimental are they?
They're detrimental. They're detrimental. You know, I remember fighting Danny Garcia after a long layoff, and you know, your reaction is not as good as it should be. You know, you may make a guy miss, and you don't react as sharp to make him pay. You know, it's just, you know, even that mean streak. You know, you kind of soften up a little bit. You know, you have to kind of rebuild that mean streak. You know, you got to knock off some rust. I mean, that's not even an excuse. I think at a world-class level, you can't just jump out and jump in as anytime you want. It's tough.
What's next for Keith? Is it another step up, or no Sean Porter, no Manny Pacquiao? Is there?
I don't
which
know.
way would you go?
They have to go back and, you know, they have to assess the performance and decide. You know, I can't decide that for him. You know, it depends on how much he wants this, how much desire he has left, and we'll see.
Did his stock rise or plummet in your mind? Is it good to show championship will and heart?
You know, I think the media will always look for something to criticize.
Okay.
That's the media's job, right? I mean, you know, I think we should focus more on, as I said before, if this was an entertaining fight. I think that everybody's job is to be entertained. The fighters have to assess their performances and see where they go from here. I think everybody shouldn't complain. I think everybody should just be happy this was entertaining tonight. And, you know, if you really want something to complain about, Tom Schreck had a 117-109. So we already know how shitty a judge he is. 5 years ago, I already told you how shitty of a judge that guy is. So if you want to go from that, you know, maybe we can complain about that. The fight was closer than that. But, you know, I thought either guy could probably win.
Is there any way to fix it? Is there any way to fix it judging, or is this something that's just going to be, well, it's broken?
I don't know, bro. I mean, that guy's still judging. I mean, you know, he had, what did he have for Braun? Like 117, 110 or something when I fought him? I mean, come on. Like,
That was ridiculous.
I mean, if you're going to make a guy judge after a fight like that, after a scorecard like that, you shouldn't get a second chance after scorecards like certain scorecards, you just get you banned automatically from them. If you give one scorecard that is that ridiculous, but again, he gave another one tonight, so I don't know. He'll probably work again. I don't know. I don't run the New York Commission, guys. You know what I mean?
You've never talked to one of them, or like a one-on-one? You never
Yeah,
ran down
some
on
of them
one?
complain to me. Some of them come up to me. I'm friends with certain judges. You know what I mean? Like I don't fight anymore. Like we have man-to-man conversations, and it's fine. You know, like we don't have to. We can always agree to disagree and stuff like that. But I always feel like our job as fighters is more important than their job as judges. Like they're gonna go home, go to sleep tonight, and sleep good. And they don't give a fuck. Tomorrow they worry about the next job they get assessed. A fighter goes home and he's got to reassess his career every single fucking time. Okay, and that's what pissed me off. And then they got the balls to complain. No, we complain. Okay, we got literal careers change in one night in this sport. Lives change in one night in this sport. So yeah, it makes a bigger difference to us. Okay, so the fighter is the most important. That's what I think. That's what gets lost in all of this is that the fighter is the most important part.
If you got to play a matchmaker for Keith Thurman, what would you want to put him at? Should he have another kind of fight to get a little bit more back in the groove, or should he go after like the Sean?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, based on tonight, I think he probably needs a softer touch. But again, that's not my job to assess him. You know, like my job is just I was a fan tonight. I was in the crowd. I was entertained by the fight. I hope everybody else was too because it was a good fight. And that's it. That's my only job. I can go home and talk about the fight. Like, I don't think it's my job to decide what, or anybody else's job to decide what's next for Keith Thurman and how he should assess his career. Like, that's him and his team's business. And I think they'll assess it with time. Right now, I think they just fought. I think they'll enjoy getting a paycheck and they'll leave.
What do you think Errol Spence is thinking?
Paulie, I just got here. I don't want you to repeat yourself, but would you agree the scorecards were all over the place?
Yeah. I mean, but, like I've already talked about Tom Shrek. You know, I mean, we don't. Like I said, I went over him 5 years ago. You know, we don't have to go back over him again. You know.
What do you think about Josecito? How did he perform today?
Good job at Josecito. I thought he performed very, very admirably, and it was a fight he can hold his head high over after a performance he called hold up his head very high. He should be very proud of it.
Keith Thurman once upon a time called you out.
Yeah. I was,
Infamous "Don't duck me, son."
Yeah. But I mean, I was Keith. I was still young. I understand. I understood that.
It's the same birthday kind of thing, right? Don't you and him have the same birthday?
Yeah, the same birthday, exactly. Yeah, he's 8 years younger, so he's better off than me.
Would you commentate with Keith, like you and Keith together?
I think Keith does a good job. We're cool. Me and Keith are cool. And I respect Josecito too. Like, I don't have like enemies in this business. Like I respect everybody who does this for a living because it's a very hard way to make a living.
I know you got the great boxing mind before you dip out. Can you just break down how Keith got caught? Because Keith's always breaking stuff like that down too.
I thought he was his momentum was too much going backwards, and I thought he was bouncy and going backwards, so he wasn't set to defend himself very well. When he was moving, I thought he was trying to move his feet quick so he'd get out of distance so that Josecito couldn't reach him. And maybe he could reset, but Josecito never let him get completely out of distance, so he was catching him on the end of the shots. The shots don't look worse than they are because if you catch him on the end of the shots while he's moving in that way, his head is gonna snap more, but it hasn't landed as clean as it might look. But still, it doesn't look good. But that is also because he wasn't properly set to defend properly. And when you're moving that way, most you can do is maybe check hook off the bounce. You're not gonna land the shot that's hard enough to.
That's how he always
get respect.
fights.
Yeah,
always.
But usually he's able to set himself a little better. And that could be the rust. Usually off that movement he's able to set himself a little better. But credit to Josecito because he brought a lot of pressure at a very fast pace, so it prevented. That's part of why Thurman wasn't able to set a lot of times off that retreat.
Paulie, while you're here, Danny Jacobs, Canelo, what'd you think about that?
It's a good fight. I'm from Brooklyn, bro. I'm Brooklyn all day. Danny Jacobs, but I wouldn't be surprised if either guy won that fight. Okay. It's really that kind of fight.
Paulie, what would you do to change for transparency for the judges?
There's nothing to change. I don't know what to do, man. Like everybody makes like that job is so difficult. Like I don't know, man. Like don't get me wrong, some fights are difficult to score, but I don't know. Like I don't see how if you give one ridiculous scorecard, you should work again. I don't know. It's not that difficult. Like I don't see how like if a guy judged 150 fights, he's like a better judge than the guy who judged 10 fights. I don't see how that makes a difference. I never judged a fight in my life, but I judge better than a lot of these guys. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see how that experience plays into a factor. But there are some good judges. I can't say it's all just bad judges because you don't want to take everything as a whole. But there's
certain
you praise
judges
certain judges too because like I said, I gave the judges praise last week for the fight with Paulie and Rashid Warren. That wasn't an easy fight to score, but I thought they got it right. So as much as I criticize, there's also fights where you have to praise these guys too, because it's not. They don't always have the easiest job. But when the job is easy, you probably shouldn't fuck it up. Because there are some fights that are easy to score.
All right, Paulie, thank you.
Thank you, Paulie.